Okay, I'm coming. Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? We're going to do something a little bit different. I don't usually do videos like this, but I'm going to do one on EDC, Everyday Carry, a pocket dump. Is that what they call it? A pocket dump. You just show up and you show everything that you normally carry. I've had people ask me about this, and I had a Stonemont level um, patron over on the Patreon channel asked me about this. He said, I asked, what do you carry on that? And he said, I think a lot of people would be interested to know. So good. That's the kind of questions that I get over on Patreon. And when we have a certain level over there, just to let you know, it's called the Stonemont level. It's the next level up from the basic. And it's the ones that I make sure that I read all of their emails or their messages to me and either get back to them personally with answers or use their ideas for things like this for everybody, and that way, if you're interested, come on over there. We got some great people over there. By the way, I just put up something over on Patreon. I guess they're having some more riots down in, well, not a riot, protest, down in San Antonio over these drag queen all age drag queen shows, so we've got both sides showing up, and it's really showing what's going on with America. Too bad what's going on with America. But anyway, we're just going to get back to this. So gonna do now there's going to be a couple of things here. They're a little bit different. I was going to make this when I was down at Silver Dollar City the other day. So usually I don't wear a cap in the house. Usually, and down there I was wearing a hat actually. Usually I don't carry two guns in the house, but I'm going to do this because it's my EDC, what I wear all around. There's another thing that will be different. I'm going to show you something on a pair of pants. And it has to do with what's inside, and I'm not going to undo my pants to show you about there, but I'll show you on this pair. And I want to talk about also, not just dumping out of the pockets, but why you should consider your clothing as EDC, and you should choose your clothing with an eye toward that. Maybe I should start with that. I don't know. Now let's start with the fun stuff, right? Let's start with the fun stuff of what's always in my pockets. Well, first off, not in my pockets, but my EDC. I carry, if I'm going to the city, now when I'm out here, around my home, I don't usually carry two guns. When I go into the city or I go out of town, I carry two guns. So what are those two guns? And I even talk about this, as I saw in my first book, the reversion. What page is it? It's on page 9, so it's just right up at the front. I talk about the importance of having a lot of pockets, carrying two guns and other stuff. So if you've read that, some of this may be familiar with it. If you haven't, you should. Okay, so let's start going through the pockets. Then I'm going to get to the guns. You all want to see the guns first, right? Okay, I'll show you the guns. I'm not going to take them out here. No reason for that, but I always carry my primary on my left side, butt forward in a cross draw position. Okay, now I carry, what I'm carrying here is a 1911. It's a Springfield Armory, regular government model, 45. All 1911s should be in 45. This 9mm 1911, I mean, John Browning would be spinning in his grave, I think. Okay, but anyway, that's my primary. On the other side, I also carry butt forward in a cross draw configuration, a Smith & Wesson SD40 in 40 caliber. Again, you'll notice that both of those were larger calibers than 9mm. I won't get into that, but you've probably. Do I need to back up? Am I cutting off the top of my head? Well, you don't care about my head. I won't get into that. Just refer to my other ones about why you shouldn't be carrying a 9mm. Okay, so the reason that I carry like this is because, and I've also made one about this, I think it was just on Patreon, Why I carry a cross draw? Because it's easier to access. If you're sitting down, if you're sitting in a car, if you're sitting in a restaurant, in a booth, and something happens, the bad guy does not see you go like this, okay? You can slip that thing into your right, nice and easy with your hand down in here. Nobody knows you're drawing your weapon. And also, many of us, I saw a picture of, it was an old martial arts picture, and where a bunch of us were having our pictures taken together. You know, guys, a lot of times, especially of a certain type, will stand like this. You see how close my hand is to my primary as opposed to clear over here. And so I carry both of them in a cross draw configuration, but forward, so that I could also do the same with my left, or you can slip either one of them out very easily from its own side and sneak it over to the other. That's more for Patreon. I'll get into more details there for anybody who cares. I also carry, this is getting more into Patreon stuff, but I carry in very cheap holsters. People wonder, what kind of holsters do you wear? Well, I thought I had a couple of Uncle Mikes and Redheads. Turned out that both of them are Blackhawks. Doesn't make any difference. They're cheap nylon holsters. And I put them on a belt like this. The reason that I use those instead of one fixed to, you know, a certain position, because when I walk, I can kind of have them forward like this. And really, it doesn't print for anybody who's not looking. Okay. Also, you should, you know, wear something that covers them. Some people call that a cover garment. In my day, we called it a jacket. But then when I sit down, I can just take them back like that, and they're not digging into me. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, bring these forward. Okay, well, let's get into what's in, and I'll shove these back so I'm getting into my pockets. Okay, what's in there? I always carry a paper napkin. Every time I'm on a quick trip or whatever, I get a napkin, I stick it in my pocket. Why? There's all sorts of things you can do with a napkin. Do you need something to start a fire with? Do you need to wipe something off your face? Do you need to clean your glasses? There are more things that you can do with a napkin than most people imagine. So there's the napkin. The next thing, my car key. The next thing, a pocket knife. There, you know, you can call it a tactical folder. In my day, we said that no, it's not an assistant. You just, you know, open it. In my day, we called them pocket knives. This is not the kind of knife that I normally would recommend to people. Now, the blade is, but the handle is not. I picked this up because I had lost my previous one, which is also one of the reasons that I don't suggest that people pay too much for their knives. There's no reason to pay $200 for a knife. You know, a $40 fixed blade is going to do you just fine. And I think this is a Smith & Wesson. I like Smith & Wesson as a company, but just so happened to be the one that fit my desires for the blade, which I always like a half serrated down there. Simply, depending on what you need to cut through, this will cut through, and I won't get into the gory, bloody stuff here, but this will cut through stuff in a different way, and a different way than the normal edge. What I don't like, it's got all the cool stuff that everybody thinks that they need and nobody will ever use. The window breaker and the seat belt slasher and all that. I know that that's important to some people. I've never had to use it, even in my day running emergency services. I never needed that. I always had something I could break a car window with, right? And the seat belts usually were not a problem. What I don't like about this is that it has a metal handle. I would much prefer, and I've meant to put some rubberized material on it. The reason for that is that, you know, when you're dealing with emergency situations, your handle can get slippery. Blood, other things, you know. Blood seems sticky when it's in small, you know, amounts. When it's in large amounts, it's very slippery. And you don't want your knife slipping out of your hand. Now, why haven't I got this? Well, like I said, I bought this probably, I bet you 10 years ago. And just never, I hate spending money that I don't have to. I hate spending money that I don't need to, and it's always served me well. Now, would I prefer, if you're buying a knife, get one with a handle that's got a better grip to it, make sure that it's, good, got a good strong lock on it. This thing that everybody loves to the clip, I have never clipped a knife on the outside of my pants. Okay, it just shows people that you're carrying a knife, and you can't get it out of your pocket any faster if you have it clipped on the outside. I think that's just something that people want to show. Look, I got a knife. So anyway, you can get it out just fine like that. Is there anything else down there? Yes, a lighter. I always carry a lighter. I stopped smoking almost 40 years ago, but you always want a lighter. You always want a way to start a fire, whether it's for survival or lighting birthday candles. You ever been to a birthday party and they say, hey, anybody got a lighter, to light these birthday candles? And nobody does because nobody smokes anymore, right? Well, I always do. I don't carry this to light birthday candles, but I've used it more to light birthday candles than I have because I've been lost in the woods and needed to start a fire. I don't wrap. I know it seems to be big among some circles to wrap duct tape around it because duct tape is a good fire starter. I've never done that. I don't like it. You can always find stuff to start a fire with, right? But what if your napkin gets wet, Steve? Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. And you can always find stuff like that. I've seen guys that carry these with the tape around it. They get ratty and they get, I just don't like it. Up to you. Do what you want. Let's get to the other side over here in the front pocket. Car keys, of course. One thing that I put, a couple things that I keep on my car key. First off, a handcuff key. You never know, right? But there is something else that I carry that I don't ever see anybody. That some of you may know, and I've got tape on it. Some of you may recognize what that is, right? It's a P51. It's the big brother to the P38, the can opener. I have used this more than you can imagine. I put a little bit of electrical tape around there simply because when it opens up a little bit in your pocket, it'll start ripping the threads in your pocket, or you'll get down there and you'll get your finger on the tip and it hurts. I have used this more when I was still at the hospital. A lot of time I always kept a lot of food in my locker, as you can imagine. And a lot of times, if I didn't want to eat the junk they had there or for whatever reason, and, not all of them were pull tabs. So I always had this, and I'd go back in the galley, and I'd be back here with my little P51, and people go, wow, what's that? What you doing? And I'd show them how to work it. Some people actually kind of got interested in preparing after seeing that. Anyway, it's good to be able to open a can. I know that you can do it. Go out there and rub it on concrete or stick your knife in it. It's a lot easier than that. P51 or P38, whichever one. I like the 51 because it's bigger. The 38s are a little small. Okay, so there's my car keys. Okay, let's go over here to, what everybody wants. Okay, a flashlight. Always have a flashlight. This is a stream light. It's a good light. I don't really like it. I'm going to be replacing it, and I'm going to be keeping it just here for the home. Because it takes specialized batteries. It takes those CR123 batteries. And I like to be able, I like to have a pocket light that either runs on AA's or AAA's because you can find those everywhere. And I've got a little container that I usually carry when I have a flashlight that runs on AA's or AAA's, a little plastic container that I always keep in this pocket that has extras, a couple of extras, AA's or AAA's, depending on what I'm using here. So I just don't like that. Yeah, I could carry the specialized batteries for this. But if something happens like what I wrote about in my books, if you're miles from home and you need some batteries, you can usually find AA and AAA's no matter what kind of place you go into. Can't always find those specialized batteries. So I'm going to be switching this out. And I'll be honest, I am not a flashlight. Um, um, what's the word I want? I'm not a flashlight snob. Okay, there's a lot of good lights out there. Surefire, great lights, right? Too expensive as far as I'm concerned. I don't buy them. Same reason I don't buy Glock. They're overpriced. Good product, overpriced. Um, what's the other? I had an O-light, kept turning on in my pocket. Didn't like that. So, I have had some of the best luck with this stuff that you buy on sale at Christmas at Home Depot, Coast, or whatever it is. They're great lights, and you get them to run so that I like uniformity in things. I like my flashlights, my lanterns. I'm sorry, I keep coming up so you can't see my face. My lanterns, my larger flashlights. I like them all to run on the same stuff, double A's or triple A's, because in my JIC bag, which we'll talk about on another one, I carry extra batteries. Maybe I should say that too. I should say that this is the first level, your EDC, your on body, the stuff that's always on there. And then I have a grab bag. I'll do another one on that. And then from there I go to a JIC bag for JIC, just in case. I talk about all of that stuff in the first chapter of the reversion. And then there's a truck bag, and then there's a truck box. A lot of stuff to build on each other. But we're just going to keep it here right now. Now, then I have my wallet. What do I have in my wallet that is important? Well, money and credit cards. Okay. Well, money and credit cards isn't going to help you when the world falls apart. And, it can, because if you read my book, the very first chapter, the very first few pages, Jim is in a barbecue restaurant, and he's about to order, and all the power goes off, and everybody who's, dealing with plastic, they can't get their orders, but people who work there say, if you got cash, we can help you. Well, okay, so cash will work for a while. Now, why credit cards then? Because you live in the world that you live in, not the world, or we do. We live in the world we live in, not the world that might be, okay? And today, plastic will get you a long way, whether it's a debit card, a credit card. I tell people, carry a high limit credit card. You never know. You might be away on business, away from home. Whatever happens, you don't know what happens. You need to be able to access credit. There will be those that tell you that credit is bad, and they are exactly wrong. They're wrong. Debt is bad. Credit is good. Credit simply means that somebody understands that you will pay them back for the things they're giving you today. That's what credit is. So use it, go home, the next credit card payment comes around, pay it off. That's what you can do. There may be times that you need something that's really more than you have cash on hand. That's what credit's for. Use it properly. Smart people use it properly. Other people are afraid of it. If you use it right, it's just like a gun. It's not going to hurt you. Okay. So we got cash, we got credit cards, and then I always carry several Band-Aids. And then you know what else is in there? A whole bunch of clutter. Receipts and things that I pick up along the way. When I'm out on business, when I'm doing things that are tax deductible, if I'm out traveling and I need to keep my receipts. And so I've always got a mess of receipts. I clear this out every now and then. But that's why I say, but Steve, what if you need to start a fire? Well, besides my paper napkin that I got from Quick Trip, I've got a whole mess of stuff in here that will do very nicely. So that's that wallet. Over here, I usually have in this pocket the phone that I'm shooting this on, so that is always in this pocket. And then I carry something, excuse me, that I don't think most people do. And that's a poncho. It's a 99-cent poncho. I got this one at Academy. You can get them everywhere in the world. 99 cents. They're probably $1.25 now with inflation. But I keep it. It's folded up, and you don't even notice that you're carrying it. How often have I used this? More often than you would think. There was a time we were out putting up Christmas lights. It started coming down. And I didn't want, there's nothing more miserable than being outside, having to get some work done and being wet, right? And especially if it's cold and wet. Well, if you got to be cold, and you shouldn't be cold anyway because you got to be wearing the proper clothing, you at least don't want to be wet. So I popped this out. I was the only one out there wearing a poncho, and I was just fine. No, I think I give a poncho to somebody else. Anyway, I always keep a number of them in my grab bag, more in the jick bag for anybody else who's with me. But then I also keep it in its little pouch here. I don't take it out for, less weight and everything like that. Don't take it out because you never know. You might need the poncho, and then you might want that little plastic bag for something. You never know. Don't throw away stuff just because you don't need it right now. Think, gee, what could I use that for in the future? Now, there is a pocket that I can't, I'll toss this out here so I put it in the bag. There is, what's that? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. A multi-tool. A multi-tool. I don't have to show you that. You know what that is. Now, all of these have their own special pockets in the pants that I wear. And now we're getting to clothing as EDC. First off, this is not a high dollar jacket. This is like a really lightweight cover. It's not as warm as a Columbia or anything like that. This is a Magellan, I think. It came from Academy. I love Academy Sports. It's got plenty of pockets. That's the thing. Plenty of pockets. Your clothing, like I say, is EDC. I always have a thermal base to begin with. You never know when you're going to get cold, right? You don't want to be any more cold than you absolutely have to. And then this. I like it because it's got plenty of pockets. As I say in the book, Jim came to believe you need plenty of pockets. So you've seen the pants that I wear are I consider one of my most important EDC items. I wear Duluth Trading Company, and these are the Fire Hose Flex pants. These are the best pants I've ever had. These happen to be lined, flannel lined, or fleece lined, I guess. These are the best pants I've ever had. I won't take them off, obviously. But they have got pockets out the yin-yang, and they've got pockets in the right place, and they've got deep pockets. Deep trouser pockets you've got if you open this up, and you see how, now these are a little bit different. The ones that I'm wearing right now, the pocket configuration, it allows you, maybe these do too. Yeah, these do too. These do too. If you don't want the flap over there, you can stick the flap down inside, and it has internal Velcro. Can you see that? You can't see the Velcro because it has internal Velcro so that it holds the flap down, so that you're not always, if you want to put gloves in there or whatever, which brings us to another thing. I always have a pair of gloves. If I don't have them stuck in a pocket, I've got them next to me in my truck. Okay. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. Always a pair of gloves, because your hands are important. It's to protect your hands. So this has, let me undo this just to keep it right. It has that pocket, and it's got a whole bunch of other secondary pockets all over the place. It's got your hammer loop for your hammer or your hatchet or whatever. It's got the same kinds on the back, the flaps, and it's got another loop for your other hammer or your other hatchet, and internal pockets within the pockets, just great. Got a little thing here if you want to hang stuff on it. I don't know why you would. I see some people like hanging their keys on a carabiner there. I don't know. Up to you. The main thing that I wanted to show you about this is because there's something else that I carry, and it's inside. Duluth has these little cool inside pockets there. Okay, you gotta undo your pants to access the pocket, right? In there, a credit card, another credit card, a couple $100 cash. You never know, right? What happens if, for whatever reason, you lose all of your other stuff, or most of it, or you lose your wallet, or you lose your money? Inside there, you got a credit card, and a couple $100 in cash. Okay, did I miss anything? I don't think so. Always have a good belt that will support 2 guns. Footwear is important. The boots that I'm wearing today and usually wear are Merrell's. Merrell's make great boots. I like them. They're not tactical boots. You don't look abnormal walking around in them. I occasionally wear cowboy boots. Matter of fact, I'm going to make one. I had somebody else ask me, because I keep getting more and more comments on the one I did some time ago about cowboy hats. And boy, thank you for all the ones who are doing it. I get questions and comments from Europe and Japan and all over the world about my video about cowboy hat etiquette and superstitions. And if you haven't seen it and you're interested in that stuff, just go back and look for it somewhere. And I think it's like my highest viewed video. But it's really great. Anyway, a lot of times I will wear cowboy boots. Would you like to see the ones that I wear? They're right here because I took them off. And this won't be one about it. These are Ariats. I wear these when I'm in town. When I don't think I'm going to have to walk a lot. Okay? Cowboy boots were not intended for people who are walking 10 or 20 miles a day, right? They're great boots. In many ways, I prefer these to my Merrell's, but they're just not going to work for you if something happens and you say, whoops, I got a hoof. Well, I guess it'll work, but if you're going to hoof it home 200 miles, you're going to wish you weren't wearing cowboy boots. So, same thing with cowboy hat. It's different. And always have some kind of cap. It's just good. It's for all sorts of reasons. For many situations, I much prefer a broad-brimmed hat, a cowboy hat. I prefer that for most things. A cap if you're in a situation where a hat's just not going to work. I will be doing one. As a matter of fact, somebody asked me, I led into this, somebody asked me about cowboy boots. So I will be doing one on cowboy boots, and I'll do that pretty soon for anybody who's interested. For anybody, all those of you out there who get new cowboy boots for Christmas. All right? I think that does it. That's my EDC pocket dump. Hope you got something out of it. Let me know what you carry. You might carry something different than I do. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody gets ideas, from other people or just, I've got almost all my ideas just from living the life, for 48 years of what I need on a daily basis. So hope that helped. I got to walk around there in a second to turn off the camera since I had to set it farther away than I usually do, and I don't have a camera crew. But you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I always feel pretty good, no matter where I am, knowing that whatever happens, I've got stuff in my pockets that will probably get me through. All right? You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.